So you want to learn how to run Google Ads moving into 2021, but you're not sure where to start? In this video, I'm going to show you how my team generates over 300 leads every single month on total autopilot at less than $3 a lead. I'm going to walk you through step by step from start to finish how to set up and optimize your Google Ads so you can get the best return on your investment. So keep watching. Hey, my name's Eric and I help realtors and entrepreneurs level up their businesses online. In this video, we're going to talk all about Google Ads and why you should consider using them in 2021 because it's one of the most underrated places to run your ads and it's a cornerstone to many of my businesses. Everyone usually defaults to Facebook and Instagram ads when they think about advertising their business, but there's a good reason why Google search ads are something you should consider, which I'm going to talk to you about in this video. If at any point in this video you want to discuss with me and my team about having us run your Google Ads, leave a comment below and I'm happy to get in touch. If you like content like this and you're looking to level up your business online, consider subscribing so you don't miss any content as soon as I put it out so that you can be the first to watch it. So let's get into this video. So the first thing I want to go over today is the why behind Google Ads, and I want to give you an analogy to help explain why I'm so bullish on Google Ads and why I think the narrative is changing about the go-to place to advertise. Now, Facebook and Instagram ads is everyone's default, as I mentioned. Now, why is that? Because they use those platforms daily and they see ads daily and they just think that's where the eyes are. And that's true, that is where the eyes are. But today, Google and YouTube are still the largest search engines in the world. So there's a lot of eyes in those places, but there's not as many advertisers capitalizing on those places because Facebook and Instagram ads, as you know, is a very saturated place to market today. Doesn't mean it doesn't work. I use Facebook and Instagram ads. I spend tons of money on them myself and they do work, but I think you should consider adding Google ads to your repertoire. And the reason is very simple. Now, when you think about Facebook and Instagram ads, when you're putting an ad in front of someone, it's kind of like driving down a highway and seeing billboards on the side of the highway. The billboards are ads on Facebook or Instagram, okay? So you're driving on the highway, you got your partner beside you, you're listening to music, you got your kids in the back. It's a very busy, distracting place, and that's exactly what Facebook and Instagram is. It's a busy and distracting place. You got your news feed, you got your sidebars, you have ads all over the place, you have comments, you have Messenger, you have lots of stuff going on, and it's really hard to pay attention to ads. And what are people doing when they're scrolling through Facebook and Instagram? Well, they're bored, generally. So your job as a marketer is to stop them in their tracks and make sure you can grab their attention, which is for many people a really hard thing to do. Now, when you're driving down this theoretical highway and you're seeing these billboards, the only reason you're seeing those billboards is because of the location you're in or some interests you've created online. So things you've clicked on in the past, things you've done online, and people are targeting you based on those interests, or maybe they're targeting you just because you're of a certain age or gender or you're in a certain location. It doesn't mean you're actually interested in whatever that person is selling. Now, put your hand up theoretically if you've seen an ad before that was completely irrelevant to you. It happens every single day for all of us. It's because you're kind of just taking a shot in the dark with Facebook and Instagram ads a lot of the time. You're putting ads in front of people hoping you're hitting your audience, but really it's like driving down a highway. You're seeing billboards and it doesn't mean you're interested in whatever that billboard's selling. You're generally just seeing that billboard because of wherever you're located or some characteristic about you. Now, Google Ads on the flip side is a lot different because Google Ads is like a storefront. There's more premeditation behind Google Ads. Let me explain why. When you go into Google and you search for something, say you search for a Sony ZV-1 camera, which is what I'm filming on right now, then I'm gonna get ads for a Sony ZV-1 camera. Now, why is that different? Because I had some premeditation behind that. I thought about a Sony camera, I went online and I Googled it and say Best Buy's ad popped up. Now, let me put that in a real estate context. If I search homes for sale in Vancouver, which is where I'm from, then my ad will pop up homes for sale in Vancouver, and that's our real estate team putting an ad in front of someone who's already gone through some kind of process in their head. Maybe they talked to their partner about buying or selling real estate. Maybe they had a little discussion and they don't have a go-to website to search for homes yet. So they go homes for sale in Vancouver and we put our ad in front of them. They click on it, they go to our website, they sign up as a lead, and then we ideally get in contact with them. So there's a lot more premeditation that goes into Google Ads because it's not just a shot in the dark. You're putting a relevant ad in front of someone who's already gone through some premeditation and already gone in and searched for that exact thing. So that's what I'm going to talk about in this video is how to actually run those kind of ads. And that's why they're so beneficial is because there's premeditation. You're targeting people based on keywords they're searching for, which indicates that they're already interested in that exact thing. If you're a real estate agent, understand that this is Zillow and Realtor.com's entire business model. I have talked to employees at those companies and confirmed that most of their traffic comes from Google. So as you see here, when you search in Google and a search result comes up, Realtor.com and Zillow in the US are always going to rank really high. In Canada, it's like REW and Realtor.ca. Same idea. But what happens is someone goes into Google, they search homes for sale in Vancouver, Zillow pops up, they click on Zillow, they go to Zillow's website, and then they click contact agent. Zillow generates that lead and they sell it to their premier agents for $50 to $200 a lead, right? Now that's most of their business model is just generating leads from Google by having a high SEO ranking, selling those leads off to agents. What we teach is how to take ads and put your ad above those companies in the search result so that they can click on your ad for, pennies on the dollar, oftentimes 30, 40, 50 cents a click. And then we get leads for $3, $4, $5. And instead of paying Zillow and relying on them for $50 to $200 a lead, we're paying $4 to $5 for our own lead. And the best part is it's an asset we're in control of. So that's why Google ads are important. That's why you should pay attention during this video. So put distractions away. What I'm going to teach you today, there's a lot of gold in this, and I've put a lot of energy into making this video so we can go through every aspect of this training to make you understand fully how to set up a good ad campaign, and actually 3 ways that you can fully optimize it as well. So let's get into the tutorial. All right, everyone, let's get into the actual tutorial. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do when you're talking about Google Ads is you're going to go to ads.google.com, and you can see that right up in my browser right here. So just go ads.google.com. If you're new to Google completely, it's going to show you a page that looks like this. You're just going to go ahead and hit that Start Now button. Really, really simple. It's going to get you to actually log in with your Google account if you're not already. If you are, you can just click New Google Ads Account, and it's going to take you through the process of actually setting up a new account. Now, one of the really annoying things about Google Ads is that it makes you actually go through and set up an ad right away. But there is a way around this that I'm going to show you. So if you go down to the bottom here and you see, are you a professional marketer? Switch to expert mode. Just click on that, and it'll actually skip the ad creation process. You actually have to click it again here. You go create an account without a campaign. So you don't have to go through the process of creating an ad straight away when you create an account. So just go ahead and click that. And then that will actually just guide you into your billing country and your billing currency. Hit submit. No, don't send me performance tips, Google. Thank you. And then you're all done and you can go explore your account. If you already have a Google account, which you might already be in a place that looks like this. Make sure when you're here, you click on Tools and Settings, and then you click on Switch to Expert Mode. There'll be a little thing up here that says Switch to Expert Mode. You're going to want to do that because then you're actually going to get all of the options that Google gives you in terms of setting up your ad. If you're not in expert mode, it's just going to limit you in every way possible. So just to make it simple, but you don't want to do that. So make sure you switch to expert mode. Then you're going to see a screen like this. The reason you want to do that is because if you go through the process of setting up an ad first, it actually doesn't give you all the tools you need to set up a really well-structured ad. So essentially what I want to do here is I'm just going to go over to one of my accounts here that I have set up for my real estate team locally here. So when you actually run ads, you're going to see something like this. You're going to see a dashboard and you're going to see some data. So for me, I like to see clicks, conversions, cost per conversion, and cost. And it's going to show me my data over time. So for the last, this month so far, we've generated 47 leads at $4.83 a conversion for these 2 guys that I'm doing some lead generation for. So basically in here is where you want to start. Now, if you want to create a new campaign, you're just going to hit this new campaign button right here. And then it's going to guide us through the process, similar to how you would in the beginning, but we're doing it straight from the ad account, and we're actually going to get a few more options available to us. So go ahead and hit New Campaign. Then what you're going to do is you're going to want to select what your objective is. So for me, I'm in real estate. Generally, what we're going to do here is we're going to select website traffic. Or you can select leads. Either one works. We usually select website traffic because we actually collect those leads on our website, right? So first thing you're going to want to do before you do a campaign like this, if you're trying to collect leads on your website, you're actually going to want to set up your conversions. So I'll link to a video here where you can actually find out how to set up conversions. It's a little technical, so I'm not going to go into it in this video. But if you actually watch that video, you'll know how to set up your conversion goals. You can do it through analytics and import it into your ad account, or you can do it directly in your ad account. What it does is it connects your website to your ad account so that you know which ads are actually creating leads or conversions or purchases or whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. So conversion is really important. For the sake of this ad, I'm not actually going to set it up just because it's a little technical. Now, So I'm going to click website traffic, then I'm going to select my campaign type. Now this video is about search ads, so I'm not going to go into the other types of ads. There's display ads, which is those ads that show up in blogs and articles as you read through them. There's shopping ads, which is when you search for a product and it shows like Best Buy pops up with like a product. And then there's video, which is YouTube ads, and discovery, which is a variety of other places to show an ad. So we're going to select search, and that's it. Now, what I'm going to do here is just give you an example if I was running an ad for this team. So our website is ybrhomesearch.com. And then you just put in your website, whatever it is, and we'll go ahead and hit continue. Now, essentially what you're going to do is you're going to name your website. So for us, I would normally do like a buyer search campaign for real estate, or like I would just do the name. So let me just do my name here, Eric Preston. And then essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to deselect display network. It wants to show your ad on the display network as default, but it's a lot harder to get a return on investment on display network advertising. You have to have a little bit more strategy behind it, and it's great. It's a great tool for retargeting and stuff like that, which you can do on Google if you're not familiar with it already. I know most of you probably know by now you can do that on Facebook, but Google offers a lot of tools where you can do good retargeting there as well. So anyways, what you're going to want to do here is show more settings, and then basically you can set a start and end date to your campaign. For most of you, you're actually just going to run this campaign as is in an ongoing basis. With Google, you can only set a daily budget. So you basically set a daily budget and you optimize it and you leave it. And that's the beauty of Google Ads, is it's mostly automated once you set it up. So anyways, locations is a really important point I want to make here. You're going to want to select location options. And for me, it's going to populate all countries and territories or Canada, because I'm in Canada. You can also enter another location, and that could be as small as, Vancouver, BC, which is where I live. So you can just target that location. Now, a lot of people get confused here because they think, oh, if I just target Vancouver, then I'm just targeting people in Vancouver, but that's not actually the default setting. Because if you go down below here, it'll say, who do you want to target? People in or who show interest in your location, which is recommended, and I actually recommend that too, or people in or regularly in your targeted location. So this really depends on what kind of business you have. For realtors and real estate, I would say people in or show interest in your targeted locations, because if someone's searching for homes in Vancouver, but they're from Toronto, that's okay. They might be relocating to Vancouver. So we want to get your ad in front of them. And we actually find in real estate that those leads are actually more willing to engage with us because they aren't local. They don't know anyone here. They often don't have a realtor or have a friend who has a realtor. So in real estate, I generally recommend that you want to do people in or who show interest in your target locations. Now, if you're selling a physical product or you're a restaurant, you definitely don't want to do that. You definitely only want to do people in or regularly in your target locations, because if you're a restaurant trying to get people through the door, you obviously don't want to be targeting people that are, an 8-hour flight away. So just be cognizant of what this actually means. So I'll just show you how I generally set this up. Generally, I do people in or who show interest in your target locations, and I'll target, say, Vancouver, if that's where I'm selling real estate. Now, what that means is anyone around the world searching homes for sale in Vancouver, for example, is going to see my search ad. Now, essentially, what you can do with this is you can start excluding certain locations. So you're not going to get the option here, but I'm going to show you how to do it later, where you can actually exclude locations, and you can actually generate a user location report. So you can see where people are clicking on your ad around the world. And if there's like a ton of people clicking on your ad in like India, for example, and you're like, what is that all about? There might be a click farm, and you might be getting fake clicks. So you could actually exclude India, for example. So like common ones people would exclude are like India, China, Bangladesh, some of those countries. Where you do find some click farms more often, but like I do have clients who are from India and they want that traffic from India as well, because they can create a bit of a deeper connection with that lead right off the bat, especially in real estate when they speak a common tongue. So just some things to think about in terms of locations, okay? So you're going to leave it as people in your excluded locations, and then we can add excluded locations a bit later. If you speak a second language, you're going to want to enter it here for sure, because Google knows what language people use Google in, obviously, and they're going to actually show your ad to people who speak that language. Another great thing in real estate especially is if you do speak a second language, and maybe it's your actual first language, and you are an immigrant, for example, I would always put your language in here, and I'd actually recommend creating an ad campaign in that language, because like I have a client, for example, in Miami, and they're French, and so we run ads in France for people searching for homes in Miami. And so what that does is they've basically taken majority of the traffic from France of anyone searching for homes in Miami. And what happens is they're able to create an immediate connection and relationship with them because they speak the same language, right? So that's something to consider as well. Is actually running the ad in your language and running it in your home country as well. So in that case, you would choose like target locations, France, people in or regularly in your target locations, and then you target the keywords like homes for sale in Miami. So I'm going to break down how to actually do that in the next section here. But before I do that, there's one important part here, which is audiences. Now, it's going to show me recently selected audiences in here that I've used in this account. So for me, this is something called in-market audiences. So this is like a group of people that Google knows essentially have taken some sort of actions on the internet that would put them in a bucket of people that are interested in new apartments for sale or new houses for sale or are homeowners. So this is like people who've elicited specific behaviors online that would indicate that they're a homeowner. So what you can do is you can actually target homeowners. Now, there's two ways you can do this. Generally for us, I would do all of these categories. So apartments for sale, houses for sale, residential properties for sale, homeowners. So these are all relevant for real estate. I wouldn't do anything for rent. If I did like houses, something like this, there'll be some houses for rent. So those are people that have been on Google looking for rental properties. But we just want for sale because we're targeting in real estate. Now there's lots of other categories you can go into here. You can see like who they are with their demographics. This is very similar to Facebook targeting, by the way. So you can see parental status. You can target parents, people of certain educations. Just be mindful that there are some restrictions around this within housing, employment, and financial opportunities. So that's a new rule that came out just recently where you're not going to be able to do all of this with those limitations. So now, if you want to really target a specific audience, this is a great tool for you. You can do it based on their habits. So again, if you've used Facebook ads, this is very, very similar. You can find audiences in here that are avid investors, that are often big diners or coffee shop regulars. These are things that people search for on Google that Google attaches to their profile and says, this person often searches for fine dining, for example. This person often is very interested in the news. They read the news all the time. Could be a number of things. Now, it just depends on what your product is if you want to target these people. In real estate, it makes sense for people to target people that have been searching for properties recently. Now, there's two ways you can do this. One is targeting. So this is actually going to narrow your audience down to show only to people that are in these buckets, okay? And then there's observation. Now, this is what I'd actually recommend because with Google search, you're generally targeting people based on keywords, the keywords that they put into Google. So when someone puts in homes for sale in Miami into Google, we can assume that they're somewhat interested in buying or selling a property. And that's one of the best things about Google is there's some premeditation behind what they're actually doing. They're basically telling you that they're interested in homes. So that's why I talked about Google is like a storefront. There's some premeditation going into it, whereas Facebook's kind of like a highway where there isn't. So anyways, generally what you're going to want to do is observation. And what this does is it's not going to narrow your reach, but it's going to observe if these people in these buckets are actually generating better results, then it's going to start spending more money in those buckets, if that makes sense. So anyway, that's in terms of targeting, and you can combine audiences. You can do a whole lot of stuff in here. And feel free to play around with this and explore with it, but don't get too crazy about it, especially if you're relying heavily on keywords. So I'm going to go observation. I'm going to select my big categories, and then I'm going to move on. First of all, you're just going to set your budget. So say I want to do $10 a day. A good starting budget is like $5 or $10 a day. It really depends on what you're able to spend. A lot of my clients, we start with 5 or 10 or even 20 if they're looking to spend a little bit more. Generally what happens, by the way, with your budget is things will be more expensive at first while Google optimizes your ads to show to the right people. So just be wary that like our cost per click generally starts at like $1 to $1.50 and we get all the way down to like 30 cents over the course of the first few weeks. So anyways, the next thing you're going to do is do your bidding. So a lot of people, what they'll do, and a lot of agencies, what they'll do is they'll just optimize for clicks, okay? So that's really shallow. If you optimize for clicks, basically you're not going to get much data in terms of what the click actually does after they click on your ad. So generally what will happen is it'll show you how many clicks you get, but you don't know, if they went to your website and just bounced and left, or if they actually went to your website and converted into a lead or a purchase or an add to cart or whatever it is. So you're going to actually generally want to select conversions, okay? Now, like I said before, I haven't actually set up conversions. Well, I have for this ad account, so I can do this. but I didn't show you how to do it. So again, there's another video where you're going to learn how to set up conversions. It's a little more technical, and you can set a cost per action. If you are, say, in e-commerce and you can only spend $20 per purchase, you can go ahead and tell Google that the max I want to spend, or roughly I want to spend, is like $10 per action. If your conversion objective of this ad is a purchase. For us, for a lead, I don't want to set a target cost per action. Usually I just use maximize conversions, and that gets me the lowest cost per lead, at least what I've found in my own testing. So keep it simple, just go with conversions, and that's really all you're going to want to do. Now, in here, if you click hide more or open more settings, you're going to see what the conversion objective is. So my conversion action is website sign up. I already have that set up, right? You can have multiple conversions in there, like purchases, add to carts, all that kind of stuff. And then what you're going to do is ad rotations. This is more for advanced marketers, but if you have a series of ads and you want them all to rotate evenly at the beginning, you can go do not optimize, and it'll rotate your ads through evenly. Because generally with Google Ads, you're going to create 1 to 3 different ads per ad group. So generally, you want to leave optimize best performing ads, especially if in this campaign your goal is more or less the same. You want Google to optimize for whatever ads getting them best cost per lead or best cost per purchase or whatever it is. So the next part is you can add extensions to your ads. So as I mentioned before, when you're doing Google Ads, you're showing up at the top of the search. Now, when you show up higher up in the search, you'll actually have extensions on that ad. Now with ad extensions, I actually wouldn't recommend setting them up right here in the ad. Okay, I'm actually gonna get you to wait until later after we publish the ad to go in and add extensions to it. But just to give you a context for what an extension is, if I go over here to homes for sale in Vancouver and I search this into Google, this is actually one of our ads. These links below the ad are actually what extensions are, right? So these are location extensions. So it says, search Vancouver houses, updated listings 24/7, and then it says new Fairview, new East Van, new Gastown listings. So those are just areas of Vancouver. So if I click on that link there, it'll take me to a specific page or specific search result of houses for sale in Vancouver. This one would be East Van. It'll show me the newest listings first. Then you can also do, price extensions, where you can actually have downtown Vancouver from $450,000, West Vancouver from $800,000, East Vancouver from $330,000. So you can put price extensions in there as well. This is great for e-commerce or anything else where people are actually purchasing something or shopping. Is you can have price extensions that'll tell you the price of different items right in the ad. Now, why does this work so well? Is because people will often get caught by this ad and be like, oh yeah, like I was actually looking in East Van, or I was looking in Kitsilano or Gastown or wherever it is, or that maybe they're looking for a specific product and your product pops up there and they're like, oh yeah, perfect. And they click on that product. Generally, Google will optimize your ads better this way and you'll get lower cost per clicks, okay? So anyway, that's what extensions are. But I'm going to go back to the ad account and I'm just going to go save and continue here. Okay, so now we're on to keywords. This is really important, so I want to stop here and explain how keywords work for a minute. But basically, you're going to create an ad group now. So we've gone from the campaign to the ad group, and then next we're going to go into the ad, okay? So the campaign's all your settings and all that stuff. The ad group's all your kind of like keywords and that kind of thing. And then the ad is actually like the text and the copy and all those things that you're actually going to see on the ad. So for this ad group name, I would just name it by location. So for me, it would be Vancouver. And then Google's actually going to suggest a whole bunch of keywords here for you. Now, I would highly recommend questioning if these keywords are actually right for you, because they're just going to recommend a whole ton. Now, these are pretty good actually based on what I've seen before. And I think they're recommending them from my ad account and what I've done before. But a lot of times what you'll see in these keywords is you'll just see things like homes for sale. Okay, now that's tricky because if someone in Vancouver searches homes for sale, they might actually be looking in Toronto or New York. And it doesn't mean they're searching for homes in Vancouver. So you don't want your ad, if you're a Vancouver real estate agent, to show up in that specific case. So the reason is because if you don't put any quotations around this, it's something called broad match. So there's 3 types of keywords. There's broad match, phrase match, and then exact match. So broad match means if I put my keyword, if I start bidding on my keyword homes for sale, then Google will show your ad to anyone who searches for anything remotely close to homes for sale. So you could put in homes for sale and someone could type in MLS listings Boston and your ad might show up. Now, you don't want your ad to show up because if they click on it, then you're going to pay for that click. And you just paid for a click for someone searching for homes in Boston when you're actually in Vancouver. So generally with real estate, I always actually just use broad match, and I actually use the city that I'm targeting, okay? The reason is because I want to make sure that anyone around the world can search for homes for sale in Vancouver and my ad's going to show up. I just want to make sure that they actually typed in the city or the location that I work in, so that I can guarantee that when someone types that in, my ad is actually relevant to them. Because if you just put in homes for sale, or you just put in MLS listings, or you just put in realtor, stuff like that, you're going to get people searching for like Realtor New Mexico or something like that in some faraway location, and you're going to be paying for those clicks. And if you're not savvy with Google and you don't know where to find what people are actually searching for when your ad's showing up, you might be spending a lot of money for no reason at all. So these are actually quite good suggestions, but I have set keywords that I've used and optimized and tested that I'm just going to pull over here from a spreadsheet. So I have a bunch of stuff in here that I usually use, and you can kind of work from this if you want. But basically what I do is city, townhomes for sale, city apartments, city condos, real estate for sale, MLS city. So this would look, you just replace city with Vancouver. Now, if you want a copy of this, leave a comment below and I'll send you a copy of our Google Ads keywords, and you can kind of just use that as a reference point. So basically you'd go in and you'd put in, you just copy and paste Vancouver into here. And then I do city state. So for us, it would be Vancouver, BC. Property for sale in Vancouver, BC. Now, if you're targeting sub areas around your area, then you'd put those in here as well. So I might do like North Vancouver real estate for sale would be a sub area, and I could do that. For the purposes of this, I'll just leave it and say we're just going with Vancouver. So that's what I would do in terms of your keywords. You want to make sure everything's very relevant to your search results. So, if people type in Vancouver condos for sale, are they actually going to get a link to condos? Well, that's what good site link extensions are for too. I showed you some site link extensions by location, but your site link extensions can actually be like condos for sale or townhomes for sale or something like that. So if someone types in Vancouver townhomes for sale and they see a link underneath my ad, so imagine instead of this, here's a good example. Vancouver homes, townhomes, condos. So if I search condos for sale and I see homes for sale in Vancouver and then I see condos underneath, then that's perfect. I can click on that and I'll actually go through and select condos. Now we have this in our ad as well, but we have a bunch of sub areas in there as well, and both work well. What you'll see is most people do the townhomes, condos, homes. So I find it's a little overdone and I like to do the areas instead. But I actually do both so that they get, Google can actually test both and see which work, because in every market it's going to be different. So back to our keywords. That's all you're going to do for keywords. If you're struggling with what keywords to use and you have a business, you can actually type in your website here and Google will actually recommend to you keywords that you can use. Now, just be careful. You can actually do something called negative keywords as well. It's not going to give you the option necessarily right here. But basically what you can do it later is you can add negative keywords. So for us, what we generally do is add things like rent and price. So if anyone types in price or rent into their Google search, our ad won't show up. The reason is because people are searching for Vancouver real estate prices. They're just kind of curious. To me, that sounds like they're a looky-loo. If they search for rent, then it doesn't mean they're looking to buy. They're looking to rent. So there are words like that, and I actually have those in that spreadsheet. If you want to link to it, leave a comment below and I'll send it to you. Okay, so now we're on to actually the creation of the ad itself. So this is where we're going to choose the destination that people are going to get to when they click on your ad, and we're going to choose all of the copy that we're going to use in the ad itself. So in that spreadsheet, I have examples of some of the ads that we like to run. So feel free to use those, but please modify them. Don't copy them exactly. But basically what you're going to want to do is go to your website and find out where you actually want to send people. Generally for e-commerce, you're going to want to send people to the store so they see products they can click on right away. For us in real estate, for example, we want to send people to a search result. So I like to send people to a sub area location. So if I was in Vancouver, I would send them to a page that looks like this. Search Vancouver real estate, new Vancouver listings, and it gives them a list of properties that they can click on right away. And when they click on one of those properties, it forces them for their information, and then we can actually follow up with them to try to add value to their real estate search and try to acquire them as a client. So that's the idea. Now, my motto is a lead is worth as much as your ability to add value to their home buying or selling process if you're in real estate. So keep in mind that when you generate leads like this, you got to come from an approach of adding value to their search, to their life, to whatever it is, because at the end of the day, you're a stranger. And that's why you need places online where people can go to actually look you up, such as Google My Business, a Facebook business page, an Instagram page where people can go and check you out and validate you through these social platforms with reviews and other things like that, so that their likelihood of actually engaging with you is much, much higher. So I'm basically going to go to my website here and find a page like this, ybrhomesearch.com/Vancouver. I like to create pages like this. You can also do it this way, where you actually run just to a search result. And generally, I would do newest listings first. So this is the easy way to do it. You can just run them to a generic search result, and you'll see when you get to this website, it looks very generic. People don't know there's a real estate team behind it, and that's actually helps your conversion rate. So most people will drive traffic to a site like this, where it's just a search result. They can click on properties right away. I'm logged in here, but normally it'll force me for their information right there. So anyways, that's what I'm going to put in here as my final URL, because I know, I've tested this, by the way, that these pages work a little better. And the reason is because there's continuity. And I like to talk about continuity a lot with Google Ads because it's really important. What I mean by continuity is whatever people search in Google. So say Vancouver homes for sale, and whatever your ad says, so it should say search Vancouver homes, for example, and whatever your landing page says, whatever page they land on, should all be more or less the same and have continuity. Because if you don't have that, you're going to get high bounce rates. So if I search homes for sale in Vancouver, the ad says homes for sale in Vancouver, and I get to this page and it says search Vancouver real estate, there's photos of Vancouver, and it says new Vancouver listings, and the listings say Vancouver. There's continuity between all those pieces, which is really, really, really important. So cannot stress that enough. Whatever business you're in, whatever market you're in, doesn't matter. Continuity in your ads is super important, or you get high bounce rates, you get a low quality score, and Google stops showing your ad to people for as often, and it actually starts showing your ad for slightly more of a cost, because Google wants to make sure that the ads they're showing people are relevant. If they're not relevant and of high quality, if your website's really slow, if people are always leaving your website, they're not taking any action on your website, Google's just going to stop showing your ad at some point, because they don't want their users to be getting ads that are totally useless to them. So it's important that you have quality behind your advertising. Anyway, so what I'm going to do here is put it in ybrhomesearch.com/Vancouver. Then I'm going to use 3 different headlines for my first ad. So it's going to get you to create 2 text ads and then 1 responsive search ad. Okay. So text ads are static. They always show up in the same way. Responsive search ads, you can put a variety of headlines in there, and they'll actually rotate through all of the headlines and find the best combinations. I'm going to show you some tips and tricks on how to actually do this properly. So generally what I would do here is I'd like to do Vancouver property search. And I have this in that spreadsheet, by the way, live MLS search, or you can do fast and free real estate search. And then I like to do however many homes are for sale. So if I go back to this page here, I can see, if I search Vancouver, I can see that there's 4,221 properties total. So I can do 4,221 homes for sale. So you'll notice there's something I did that you may have noticed or may not, but I have different words in each headline. So Vancouver property search, fast and free real estate search, and then 4,221 homes for sale. What a lot of people will do is Vancouver home search, fast and free home search, something homes for sale, and they use the word home 3 times. But people are going to be searching using the word property, home, real estate. It depends. So you want to have as many of those terms in there as possible. Now, the display path here is what you actually want to show up over here on the ad. So usually I go ybrhomesearch.com/Vancouver, which is the actual URL. For some of you, you might want to do, if your website is like Smith Real Estate Team, you can go search/Vancouver, right? But my search already is in the URL, so I don't need to add search again. So for me, I would just put Vancouver. Then what you're going to do in the description is, I actually have some descriptions in here. I'm just going to say plug and play this in here. For example, live MLS feed updated every 5 minutes with automatic new listing notifications, includes homes, condos, townhomes, land foreclosure properties for sale. So it's actually going to default some pretty decent actual descriptions in there. You can leave them if you like them, add some new ones in there if you want, make them your own, make them unique, because that's the only way your ad's going to stand out. If you make it the same as everyone else's, it's going to just look the same and you're going to get lower click-through rates. So That's really it in terms of creating your ad. It's really, really simple. You can see what your ad looks like on the right-hand side, and there's a couple different versions of it. Sometimes it shows all 3 of the headlines. Sometimes, a lot of the time, actually, it only shows 2. So make sure that when it shows 2, it actually looks good as well. So then you're going to go on, you're going to go done and create next ad, and you're going to take it to your next text ad and you're going to create a different one, okay? But I'm actually going to go into the responsive search ad. Just because I'm not going to create 2 text ads for you, that's boring, and show you a little bit about how this works. So what I would do here is it's going to allow you to put in a bunch of different headlines, okay? So generally I do something like this: Vancouver property search, then I do Vancouver home search, then I do like live MLS search, updated listings 24/7. Now what I like to do is you can actually, so what it'll do if you leave it like this is it'll actually rotate through all of those headlines over and over and over again to try to find the best combination. Now, essentially the issue with that is it's going to put in weird combinations. Like it's going to put in fast and free. See how it shows you a preview on the right here? Like, I don't like how that looks. 400,220 homes for sale, Vancouver home search, fast and free real estate. I don't think that looks very good because people are searching for Vancouver home for sale. So I think the first word should always be Vancouver. So you can scroll through here and it's going to show you all the random combinations that it could show. Things in here like, save your search, for example, and you put in new listings, something like that. Then if eventually you're going to get an ad that just says, 4,220 homes for sale, live MLS search, save your search. So those combinations don't make sense. Be cognizant of that. And what you want to do is you can actually pin each headline in a specific location. So I'll usually pin Vancouver property search, Vancouver home search, and you can do Vancouver MLS search. And you can pin these in the first position. Then you can pin the second ones in the second position, meaning they will always show up in the second position only. Then they will rotate accordingly. So the 4221 homes for sale will only show up in the third position, but it'll rotate through those third positions. And eventually it'll figure out the best combination of those depending on the audience. So I like to actually pin them in their locations. So that they don't move around too much, because you don't get weird combinations that way. Especially if you use things like save your search criteria, for example. I would always pin that in like position 3, and you can do. It'll also suggest some things down here. I don't really like any of these, but if you do something like this, Vancouver BC homes for sale, that's not a bad one. Pin it in the first position. But make sure you go through here and you think it looks good in every different combination, because you don't want those strange combinations like that. So keep it simple. Don't make this too complicated, but make sure you are using some kind of logic in terms of your headlines that looks good and looks like people will actually click on it. You want to make sure you're showcasing the value of whatever it is they're going to get. So if you have a discount opportunity in e-commerce, that's a great thing to do. If you have an offer for something like free home evaluation, like you might want to put that in there. If you want have some sale or some special of some kind, you might want to put that in your headline too. And if you want it to show up often and in a pinned position, then make sure you pin it in that position. Same thing goes for the descriptions. You can actually pin their locations as well, but there's only 2 descriptions. So in here, you got to put in 4 descriptions. So you can put in 4, whatever makes sense for you. They're not the biggest deal. They're just going to show up underneath the ad. A lot of people aren't going to read them. But generally, I also have them in that spreadsheet, but you can put in descriptions and it's going to rotate those through and optimize and find the best one for you. Make sure you spend some time on your responsive search ad, because that's the ad Google's going to show most often. It'll show your text ads far less often than your responsive search ads. So you don't have to create 3 in here. I can actually delete that one I didn't finish. And then this one's in progress. And Google is basically going to give you ideas to make your headlines and descriptions more unique. You can follow those recommendations sometimes, but at the end of the day, like, I've done a ton of testing, and I wouldn't recommend taking every recommendation Google makes, because at the end of the day, it's just a computer algorithm trying to tell you what its best guess is. Now, so anyway, you can put in 2 descriptions here, or you can put in 4. Go ahead and put in 4. Generally, you'll get a better result when you put in more options for Google. Now, then we're going to click Save and Continue, okay? And that's really it. It's going to go to a quick review to make sure that everything you intended to do, you've done. But you're going to see here that it's going to recommend you create 3 ads, because I only created 2. which is fine. Go ahead and do that. I always create 3 ads myself. Your second text ad should be different than your first one. That's a good way to split test. If you want to split test different ads, you can just do 2 text ads side by side and see which one performs better. If you want to do them with the same budget, you can do 2 duplicate campaigns because the budget is at the campaign level. You can do 2 duplicate campaigns with the exact same 1 ad and see which one performs better over a period of 1 to 2 to 3 weeks or whatever it may be. So everything looks good for me here. You can go ahead and kind of look over everything, and then I'm going to hit publish. Okay, so once you publish, your ad will be live. Now I'm actually going to pause this because I don't actually want to run this ad, but I just wanted to show you it as more or less an example. Now in this dashboard, you're going to be able to see exactly, if I go all campaigns here, you're going to be able to see your clicks, your conversions, your cost per conversions, all of your data. Now, one thing you're going to want to do, I'm just going to show you how you might optimize your ad, okay? Now, before I do that, though, I'm going to go in and actually add some extensions. So what I want to do for extensions is you go ads and extensions here, and then you'll get the ads and extensions tab. You're just going to go to extensions, and then you're going to add whatever extensions you want in here. So I showed you guys how to do price extensions and site link extensions. So just follow along with what you saw on some of my ads. But if you just go into the plus button here, I can click site link extension, and then it'll allow me to add my site link extension to the account, campaign, or ad group. So generally for me, I do ad group because my ad group is Vancouver. So I want all my extensions to be related to Vancouver. So I would do something like this, Vancouver condos. And then I would do like maybe a sub area of Vancouver. You could do townhomes, homes, something like that. And then I would do like Kitsilano, new Kitsilano listings, or just Kitsilano listings. Then what you do is you'd go to your website, for example, and I would deselect home and just do townhomes and condos. And then I'd take that link and I'd put that link in my final URL. And that's my link to Vancouver condos on my site. So it's going to show up just like this underneath the ad, Vancouver condos. You could even do for sale, something like that. Make it unique, make it your own. As I always say, Kitsilano, you do the same thing. And instead of doing condos, you just choose a sub area, Kitsilano, go search, take that link. I usually like to do newest listings first on all the search results. Take that link, go plug it in. Now you have a Kitsilano site link extension. Pretty straightforward, right? Then you're going to go save, and those will be added to the ad group. Now, if you have a campaign with multiple ad groups and they all should have the same site link extensions, then make sure you're adding your site link extension to the campaign, because then it'll use it in every ad group. But if you only add it to the ad group, then it'll just use it in that ad group. So for me, with my campaign, sometimes I have different areas. So like I don't want a site link extension Vancouver condos popping up on an ad that says, North Vancouver homes for sale. It doesn't make sense. So something to keep in mind. As well, you can do callouts. Callouts are really simple. They're just a little bit of text. So you can do callout extensions. You can do text like upsizers, downsizers. It's just clickable text that people will see in the ad, okay? Structured snippets you can do for real estate anyway. You can do neighborhoods. So you can go in and put like, the header would be, the subheader type will be neighborhoods for real estate. But you can go in and put like for schools, degree programs, courses, brands, models, stuff like that. It's just keywords that you think people might end up searching for. And if they see that keyword in the little extension, they might end up being more likely to click on your ad. So then you can put in, all the different neighborhoods that you want to put in, and those will actually show up underneath your ad. Okay. Last one I'm going to talk about is price extensions. That's another good one in real estate, and you saw that in my ad. Price extensions show up like this. Condos from 255K, homes from 259K. So obviously that's incorrect. There aren't really Vancouver detached homes for 259K. So that tells me that that ad might have been made long time ago. But those are price link extensions. So you can go in here and you can put like luxury homes from 2 million single family. Luxury homes from. And then you could have your link in here go to a search for $2 million homes in certain luxury areas, for example. So use your judgment. Generally, I do like in prices, I do condos from X amount, homes from X amount, and then luxury homes from X amount is usually what I'll do. But you need a minimum of 3 price extensions, okay? You also want to choose your currency and make sure that's correct. So for us, it would be Canadian. Now, anyways, that's a little bit about extensions. Let's talk about how to optimize your ads once they've been running. So let me just give you an example of some ads that I've been running, and I'll show you how to optimize them, okay? So let me just go to like this campaign here. So basically, the first thing you're going to want to do for campaigns to optimize them is check out the keywords that people are actually looking for. So we're running ads here in Surrey. So one of the things you got to be careful is there's a very common popular place in England called Surrey. So if you don't put Surrey, BC in our ads, this is one of those things that's unique to this ad group, is Surrey is a big area in the suburb of Vancouver, but Surrey is a huge area in England. And a lot of people are searching for Surrey homes. They're searching for homes in England. So I made sure I put Surrey, BC. So they know that it's Surrey, BC, Canada, apartments or homes for sale when people are searching. So you might go in and find right away that if you put in like St. Paul as your city, like you better put in St. Paul, Minnesota, because there's a St. Paul in almost every state. Now, what you're going to want to do here is you can see my conversion. So each keyword I was bidding on, I have 5 here, 7 here, 4 here. So on this one, if I want to look at what's happened for these, say, these top 3 keywords, you can select them, or you can just select one and you can click search terms. And it's going to show you what people actually typed into Google when your ad popped up. So I can see here that I got 2 clicks for homes for sale in Surrey. Perfect. Houses for sale in Surrey. Great. Surrey real estate, foreclosure listing, Surrey real estate. So these are all accurate, but you're going to find some in here that don't actually make sense. So you want to make sure that if there's any wonky keywords in here, like it's like houses for sale in Surrey, UK, for example, then I'd want to add UK as a negative keyword. So say, for example, this was UK. It said houses for sale in Surrey, UK. So I could click on this and I would go add as negative keyword. And then I would actually put in, instead of this here, I would actually just put in UK with this square bracket around it. And I would click save and it would add that as a negative keyword, but only to this ad group. Okay. So if you wanted to add it to the campaign, you could do that as well. So then I'd put in UK. Now I've already done that. As you can see, I'll go into negative keywords here. You'll see I already have UK as a negative keywords. Some other negative keywords you want to add is like, and you can just go into negative keywords and add them. And that means if anyone types in that keyword, your ad won't show up. So I would go in and put UK, news, rent, how to, for this one, England, like I said. So make sure that you're avoiding all of those search terms that aren't right for you. So that's basically keywords. If you're finding there's any keywords in here that are generating bad search results or the ones that are getting really, really high cost per conversions, then you can actually go ahead and pause them. If they're not working for you, if they're too expensive, pause them and put your budget more towards the search terms that are generating you the right results. So if you want to look at all of the search terms that have happened for all your keywords, just select all and then go search terms. And you can see all of the things people have searched for when they actually clicked on your ad. So you can make sure, because whenever someone clicks, you pay, right? So this has 2 clicks at 54 cents per click. This has 1 click at 27 cents per click. So this isn't a crazy amount of data. I'm only looking at this month for this one ad group, for this one person, but you can kind of get an idea of what's really expensive and what's not, and make sure you're focusing on the right one. So the first one is keywords. You can pause keywords, and you can make sure you're adding negative keywords so you're avoiding bad search terms, okay? So that's one way you can optimize your ads straight away. The second way is you can actually go into locations and you can get a user location report, okay? Now, what you're gonna find in here is everywhere that people were searching from when your ad popped up. So I can see in this month so far, majority of my clicks were from Canada, okay? Now, the second highest place is India, third is South Africa, fourth is the US. So those are all generally okay. All of these countries speak English quite well. My client here, Harj, is actually, or my team member, I should say, is actually from India originally. So it's okay that we're running ads in India. But for my other client, like Rick, he is from South Africa. So we actually excluded India because India is one of those countries where you can get a decent amount of fake clicks, for example. So it just depends on where you are, and you can start if you're noticing in here there's some countries that you're like, man, I don't really want to be paying for a whole bunch of clicks from this one country, just because you think there could be some click farms, or maybe you think there might be a language barrier, or whatever it is, you can start excluding them, okay? So when I started with this one, I was getting a bunch of stuff from the UK, searching for Surrey, UK. So I just excluded the UK. It wasn't worth it for me to target the UK because I was getting too many bad clicks for people actually looking for homes in England, right? So I actually excluded the UK earlier in this month. This is a newer account. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. One of the ways is to do a user location report and add excluded locations to make sure that you're getting clicks from the area you want to get clicks from, okay? So that's really one way. The last way you can actually optimize, it's not the last way, but it's one of the main ways, is you can go down to devices here, and you'll actually see the data behind what your lead cost is on different devices. So generally for me, I have a good grasp on what to do at the outset, but there's mobile phones, computers, and tablets. So you'll see here that on tablets, I've only spent $1.20, not a big deal, and 4 clicks, but we've had 0 conversions. On computers, I have spent $52 and got 12 conversions for $4.34. And then on mobile phones, I've gotten 10 conversions at $6 a piece. So a little more expensive on mobile phones. So what I generally recommend with phones, people are a little less committal on a phone. So I usually bid adjust down. And what that'll do is that actually spend slightly less money on getting your ad in the auction. Because what you're doing when you're placing a Google ad is you're trying to get your ad to rank in the search result above other people who are trying to get ads. So I'll actually bid down a little bit on mobile phones. Now, honestly, you look at these conversion rates, this is pretty common. Is computers were at 14 and mobile phones were at 6. So we're getting a lot more clicks on mobile phones. The clicks are cheaper, but we're getting a more expensive conversion. So I bid adjusted down 25%. I might change this actually to 50%. Because I actually want my ad to show up more often on computers than on phones, because I'm getting a cheaper cost per conversion. My conversion rate's higher. People are likely staying on my website longer, and there's probably a lower bounce rate. So that's one thing I would do in optimizing your ad, is optimize for devices. So check out your keywords, check out the search terms, check out your locations and your excluded locations, then check out your devices and make sure your devices are in line. Now, again, if you're watching this and this seems like way too much for you, leave a comment below. And if you guys want to work with me and my team to actually go through and set all this up and manage it, I know this can be intimidating to look at in some ways, for sure. Like, I totally get that. There's a lot going on, but if you follow these steps, you'll be able to have some successful Google ads. And again, if you're looking to just have a conversation with me, hit me up on social media or leave a comment below, and I'm happy to chat with you about anything related to Google ads. I just gave you an example for how you would set up a real estate campaign, but the process is more or less the same for any industry you might be in. I've helped people run ads in a variety of industries, and it's all about making sure that you have the right keywords, the right keywords that you're bidding on, and then the right keywords and phrases in your ad, and then the right landing page that you're sending people to make sure those things are in continuity. Because if they're not, you're going to get high bounce rates, you're going to get low quality scores, you're going to get expensive conversions. It's just not going to work. It's going to fall apart, and you might not find that you're getting a return on your Google ads. So make sure that those things are all in line, and the process is more or less the same for whatever industry you're in. There's a lot more things you can do with e-commerce, with like Google shopping ads and all that kind of stuff. This video was pretty much just about the search ads. So I hope that helps. And again, let me know in the comments if you have any questions or you just want to connect. I'm happy to chat. All right, everyone, that wraps up today's Google Ads video. I hope you really enjoyed yourself and you can actually put this stuff into practice. As always, smash that like button if you enjoyed this video. Hit that dislike button if you didn't. Either way, it helps me create better content for you guys at the end of the day. As always, smash that subscribe button and the little bell if you want to be first to notified when I put out new content like this. I've linked up 2 important videos that you should check out next if you want to see more content from me. They're listed right here, so if you want to check those out, I will see you in those videos. If not, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.